Oh, the stage was set. There's a reason you blurt out Rinku every time KKR play before anything else, because Rinku almost makes the improbable, impossible seem possible, and he felt one short. He also fell short of partners. In the end, Lucknow Super Giants, credit to them, have defended a score like 176 at the Eden Gardens, and they just suffocated an innings that had started on a roll with Venki Iyer and Jason Roy at the top. Even Andre Russell struggled. Everyone but Rinku struggled at the end, and it's cost KKR this game. It puts LSG in the playoffs at number 3, and it means only one of Mumbai or RCB will qualify tomorrow. We'll come to all that in a bit, but we look at how LSG got the job done on Visit Saudi presents ESPN Cricket for T20 Timeout. Amol Muzumdar and Tom Moody. It was nearly the Rinku show again, and if little things had been done differently, we could have had a different result. Tom?
Yeah, look, absolutely. Firstly, remarkable innings again from Rinku Singh, and if we didn't know before today that he is definitely a finisher that India need to consider moving forward into World Cups, we certainly know now, because he's showing enormous temperament, enormous skill, and consistency with what he produces. There were a couple of moments. The last ball of the second last over, he swung and missed. He was more disappointed in not making contact. The non-striker was going for a run. There was a run to be taken to the keeper. He would have been on strike first ball of the last over.
Yeah.
That was one run missed and one opportunity for him to face the 6 balls that he needed to do to finish the job. And then I think it was the third delivery in that last over. And I know we're picking the bones out of what was a sensational performance, but if we're looking at those little 1%ers, there was the third ball where he hit the ball out to sort of straightish mid-wicket, and it split the deep mid-on and deep mid-wicket fielder, and there was 2 that could have been run, but they didn't take a run at all.
Yeah.
So just those small things. One, it gets him on strike for 6 balls, but there's a loss of 3 runs there. How much do they lose by?
1. Lost by 1. You sense there are only good things to feel and say about Rinku Singh, but that'll come. I mean, it's his first big season like this, and with experience, maybe that bye is taken or the 2 is taken, and then suddenly Rinku Singh is, perhaps in a different space. But do you look at those as key moments?
Absolutely. I feel, especially in a run chase like this, what they needed 40 of 2, 41 of 2, and they got 20 run over, and then, before the start of this IPL, we wouldn't have thought about Rinku Singh being probably one of the best finishers.
Yeah.
All these roles were significant with international players, Indian players who play international cricket, and also overseas players. They were reserved, or kind of reserved, for those big players, big moments. And now suddenly we are finding these players, and I second the thought of Tom there, that we are finding finishers who could possibly be the contenders for playing for India in the World Cup T20. There's Jitesh Sharma, there's Rinku Singh. Unbelievable finish this was. It's just that when Rinku is there at the crease, something's going to happen. You get a feeling.
That perhaps is almost his biggest, shall we call it, feather on his hat, that invincibility, or that likelihood of the chase being achieved even when the equation is so improbable. There are now opposing teams that are worried, even if it's 17 of 3 or 30 of 8 or 7, which used to come when Russell was at the crease, or Pollard was at the crease, or De Villiers was at the crease, and there is genuine fear now amongst bowling teams when Rinku's at the crease.
Without a doubt, because he's got the game. He's got a strong foundation to his game. We've talked on this show previously that there's no coincidence that he has taken to this opportunity of playing every single game and taken it with both hands, because he's got pedigree. He averages nearly 60 in first-class cricket. He's played a lot of first-class cricket. He's got a strong foundation to his game. He hasn't just sort of been plucked out of nowhere as a really good ball striker without any pedigree. He's got pedigree to his game. He's got technique. He's got great balance and composure at the crease, and he's been in pressure situations in other formats of the game. One of the most impressive things is temperament, and the best finishers generally have really calculated minds, but also very calm minds under pressure. And he seems to have that. Look, I don't know him personally. I've never worked with him, but just as an observer and a fan, I look at it and think, this guy's composed. He's in control. And I've seen that before in players historically, like a Michael Bevan, who I played quite a bit of cricket with. In 50-over cricket, had that trait of just, you're thinking the game's getting away from him, but he's got it absolutely under control. Mike Hussey, more recent than Michael Bevan, the same. They seem to just understand how to finish a game in a very calm and composed way.
So I'll just add one name, MS Dhoni.
MS, yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, Yuvraj, MS, yeah.
See, there are three very distinct qualities, just that Tom mentioned, that his temperament stands out. Second is the ability to take the game on your own shoulders. You know, that I'm here and I would like to deliver this for my team. Don't fear. I mean, there is a little bit of a calmness around him, and in the dugout as well. They're sure about his presence at the crease. So that's second. And the third one is his ball striking ability. It's just gone a couple of notches up. I've seen him in first class cricket, Tom, and he's built that reputation, of scoring runs. And as you say that he's got that pedigree of scoring runs in first class cricket, he's built that foundation, but now he's taken the game a couple of notches up. The ball striking has been his third best quality.
Ready for India for T20I cricket?
Look, I mean, in 2007, they made a change, complete overhaul of the team, and the new team came up trumps. Why not? Why not now?
It's a scary thought, isn't it? Surya Kumar Yadav, Hardik Pandya, Jitesh Sharma, Rinku Singh.
Yeah, well, they're very specialist roles, and he's proving that he is very capable of holding down that specialist role. He's a gun fielder as well, so you're adding to your fielding dynamic. And that World Cup's, a fair way away. It's not like it's in 2 months' time.
Yeah.
Like the 50-over World Cup, we're talking next year, absolutely, he's going to play another IPL between now and then. If he continues to do this, he's an absolute shoo-in.
Yeah, probably get maybe 15, 20 T20Is in between now and the next T20 World Cup. Throw Yashasvi Jaiswal into it, Shubman Gill already. And if they do go with that fresh approach, and we've had a number of voices on our platform say that, Ravi Shastri included, that perhaps it is time for them to try a different set of players looking at the T20 World Cup in 2024-25. Gee, well done, Rinku Singh, at times the only shining star in the Knight Riders batting lineup. But you'd have to look back at this chase and wonder why it became so tough. They started and were 10 and over for the first 5, for the first 6. And at the halfway point, they seemed well and truly in control, and the game then suddenly just got choked by spin. What happened, Amol? Surface or?
Surface played a part. There was a bit of a turn on offer of the pitch. But again, the quality of spin bowling. I think Krunal Pandya bowled exceedingly well, a couple of overs, and Krishnappa Gautam got a little bit of grip off the surface. He bowled with decent pace, and now and again he changed the pace. He looped the ball up in the air and used the seam quite well. So I think those overs of Ravi Bishnoi, those 12 overs, Bishnoi, Gautam and Krunal, that choked the game for KKR. They were going at a great pace in the first 6, and then it just got big on them, I think, towards the end.
Yeah, I mean, the 12 overs there that Amol talks of, and then even when the seamers came on after that, it looked like Andre Russell just could not get bat on ball. Rinku also was struggling until the last 2 or 3 overs where he hit some remarkable shots. But what caused this sudden inability to hit boundaries?
I think the surface. I thought the surface changed character from the first innings to the second innings. I felt that the slower ball into the surface seemed to grip and just sort of bounce a little bit more than expected. The spinners definitely got the ball to turn, and Gai Cotham in particular got bounce as well.
Yeah.
But you have to again, Ravi Bishnoi. Again, he's delivered under pressure. Like 2 for 23. That's a significant spell when the game's being being taken away from you in those early overs. So yes, we mentioned the other 2 spinners, but to me, his contribution for a young spinner is an outstanding performance. It's hard to think after the power play that KKR are going to lose that, but they found a way.
It's back-to-back games where Ravi Bishnoi impacted the game, turned it around against Mumbai.
Yep.
Do they just carry their surface wherever they go, Lucknow? It seems like this slow surface where suddenly Naveen ul Haq becomes such a handful. It just seems to happen for them. Did they read the surface better than KKR did?
Well, I wouldn't say that, but I feel that they thrive on these kind of surfaces. They've done that at home in Lucknow, and now they've gone to Kolkata and they've received this pitch. But I think it's that time of the tournament as well where you will get these kind of surfaces where it grips a little bit. If there's no dew, then the ball will take a bit of turn. So I guess it wasn't different in the afternoon. There was a little bit of turn at Delhi, but here in Kolkata you found a lot of turn.
All right. They seem to change things up at the top and send Venki Iyer, and it looked like a move that worked because they got off to a flyer. Gurbaz coming in at 4 then, and it was in a period of play where the innings just got sucked out of momentum, boundaries. Thoughts on that?
I can't get my head around the moving chairs in the top order of KKR. I just
no one can.
I just putting my batting head on, and if I was one day opening, next day 4, the next day 3, next day opening, I please just tell me what you'd like me to do. I just think that role clarity is so important. Now, if there's any lesson that can be taken out of this campaign this year for KK, and that is, work out exactly what your best order is and trust that, and allow people to grow in that position. There's just too many changes. I can understand from time to time you do have to be a little bit flexible because you might want a left-hander in at that particular point because left arm spins, being introduced or whatever. I totally get that, but we've seen so many different changes at the top of the order there. I've lost count.
Look, Nitish Rana is very young as a captain in the IPL. He's led Delhi a few times, but at this stage he's very young. So I would, shift my focus towards Chandrakant Pandit, who's a coach, and Abhishek Nair in that dugout. Personally, I feel it was a miscalculation of the impact player. You imagine an impact player,
massive miscalculation.
It's an error. It's a massive error. You're taking an impact player as a bowler who bowls 1 over after 10 overs of your bowling innings. So it's complete miscalculation.
Unless that bowler is a specialist death bowler.
Death bowler, exactly.
But it's a leg spinner that's come in, a young leg spinner that's come in that's bowled well. But he's coming in and being introduced at the time that Nicholas Pooran's deciding to flex his muscles.
I think that was a complete
And of course you deprive yourself one batting option. That could have been Anukul Roy, that could have been anyone to come in and
that could have been Jagadishan.
Anyone who comes in and just gets you.
It's unbelievable. So I guess something for them to ponder upon. And again, the batting order shift in batting order is something a complete no-no. I can understand, sometimes they go too far ahead and say that T20 cricket is all about flexibility and you need to adjust to your roles, but you need role clarity. You look at the top teams in that points table, they do have players who have complete role clarity for themselves, and you look at the results there.
And this season, of course, comes to an end now for KKR, and it's been an entertaining season because they've given us some improbable results, but I guess it's fair to say over the course of the tournament that this is not a team that has deserved a spot in the top 4. They will, of course, welcome Shreyas Iyer back as soon as he's fit next season. But do you sense there is a lot for this team to work around strategically? The strategy of trading high-priced players has not paid off. If we look at Shardul Thakur and Lockie Ferguson's use and their season, Gurbaz too remains a question, but at least that's a cheap trade. And just the selection calls, they have to take a call on Andre Russell, I guess. That's the other thing you've got to think of. But do they need some sort of strategic order going into next season?
I think they've got a long list of things to discuss post this season. Firstly, reviewing the season and all the points that we've highlighted, how they could have approached things differently. What have they learnt? And I'm not saying every team, every coach, every captain, every player has a perfect playlist. We all have areas that we can improve on every single season, every single year. But I think they've got a long list, firstly, when it comes to the review of their season, and then when it comes to their preparation for 2024, I think the list is equally as long with regards to some tough decisions on how they're going to play their game, and certain players they have within their squad, what role do they play in that year, and those trading points that you made around certain players that were traded and were hardly used.
All right, points table will tell you that it's the end of KKR's campaign, perhaps fairly so. They end on 12 points. Both Punjab and them have shown glimpses of brilliance and individual brilliance, but as a team, they've just not been able to string together the sort of form and consistency that you want. They have made the tournament interesting, though, so well done to them for that. And this will be remembered as Rinku's year, regardless of who ends up winning. The big Q against Lucknow Super Giants. Well done to them. Both the two new franchises have now made the playoffs in both seasons, so that's something nice to see for the competitiveness of the IPL. Chennai also have cemented second spot with that big win over Delhi, and Lucknow now don't need to worry about what happens tomorrow. They will stay exactly there at number 3 and await their opponent of the eliminators. Let's get a quick thought on Lucknow and this game in particular. Perhaps let's go back to Nicholas Pooran. We've spoken about their bowling. Now, did he have a different set of conditions when the pitch was playing better? But that is, I guess, regardless of that, a high quality and difference-making, match-winning innings?
Absolutely, and that's the difference between those X-factor players, is that they have the ability. We've talked long and hard about Rinku, and quite rightly so, but Nicholas Pooran's in the same category, and that they're X-factor players that can change the course of your fortunes. There was a point there that Lucknow were looking like they're going to struggle to make 150. And their approach was very gun ho. I think I sort of touched on the fact that on the point that I felt that they were looking more at the finishing line against sort of worrying about the process of getting to the finish. But Nicholas Pooran rescued that whole situation for them and gave them, a respectable score. I wouldn't say it was a pass score, but it was a respectable score, which enabled them to stay in the contest.
I think they were 73 for 5 at one stage, and he came up with all guns blazing. As we've seen Nicholas Pooran against a left-arm spinner or a leg spinner, he tries to attack. As soon as the ball's pitched up, he goes for the big hits. And in the first 2-3 deliveries, he just announced himself at the crease. In spite of being 73 for 5, that's a daring approach, I feel, and that's paid off for him quite a few times, and that's why he's been labelled as a superb finisher.
Do you sense on merit that this is a team that has earned its spot in the playoffs? That you'll obviously look at that 1 point against Super Kings that makes a difference in a washout. Could have been easily a game they would have lost, but with the squad they've built and the games they've won, that's 2 hard wins now, Mumbai and Kolkata back-to-back at the business end of the season. You think, Amol, that this is a team that's deserved its playoff spot?
Absolutely, I feel. They've had their, probably downside was KL Rahul not being there. So they've had their share of misfortune. So they needed that, probably that 1 point. I mean, who can forget the 1992 World Cup? Where Pakistan got that 1 point of the rain-affected game against England, and they went on to win it. Who knows? Lucknow Super Giants, it could be their year. Yeah,
it gives credit to them that if they've lost such a big player, you see that's an irreplaceable commodity, but they've managed to still have enough bases to cover to ensure KL Rahul's absence isn't felt.
But I'll also say there's a number of other teams that have lost big players.
Yes.
So they're not alone there, and that's all part of the journey of playing a tough tournament. You do have setbacks with injury, with form, all sorts of things. But yeah, look, it is a good reflection on the side that they've still managed to put together. Whether they deserve to be in the top 4, I think they're lucky to be there.
All right.
Because I think there's a few teams that could have equally have had the luck of a washout and fallen into the top 4 as well. I don't think they have played flawless cricket like GT.
Yes. And CSK have certainly played better cricket.
And I think that is reflected on the table, where we've had that traffic jam right up to this point.
Krunal Pandya, the captain? like what you're saying of
Lucknow,
him?
he shouldered the responsibility, and it has come all of a sudden to it. It's not as if it was planned; it just came out of the blue. But he has come up really nicely. He's handled on the ground. He was proactive as a captain, like the way he operated with his spinners, and knew exactly when to bowl them, especially today. When he operated with himself coming in the power play, and then Krishna Bhagavatam and Ravi Bishnoi controlling things in the middle over. So I think his approach was really good. Impressed with him.
All
Both the Pandyas, I
Yeah.
feel.
Yeah, well, there's a lot to like about that all-round cricketing family, and we'll have more time to discuss Lucknow Super Giants. They're going to be with us in the tournament for a little while longer. Quick look again at that points table. Confirms the top three. One spot up for grabs, two teams in it. You could say there's an outside chance for Rajasthan Royals if both Bangalore and Mumbai lose in as heavy a fashion that would bring their net run rate below Rajasthan's. Mumbai's is already below them. So as long as Mumbai lose and then Bangalore lose significantly to Gujarat, maybe Rajasthan have a backdoor entry. But we'll come to all that only if we have to. Mumbai would back themselves against Sunrisers Hyderabad, who's entering this game at 10th at the Wankhede. And then you got the Gujarat-Bangalore game. Keep an eye out on the weather in Bangalore. I believe there's a few storms on Sunday evening. We don't want the IPL decided on that fashion, but let's hope it doesn't come into play. So we'll have Lucknow a bit longer. We'll have Tom Moody a bit longer. But it's a big thank you to Amol Muzumdar. I think that's a wrap for him on our live shows at least. We'll see plenty more of Amol as we go forward. I hope you've enjoyed yourself, Amol.
I did.
Excellent.
I had a good time, especially with you.
Oh,
Raunak.
thank you.
Oh, you were fishing for that, weren't you?
Someone has to say it.
Yeah.
You're back on actually again tomorrow, Amol. I'll just change the roster a little last minute.
No, I enjoyed it. Thoroughly enjoyed with Tom, Ian Bishop.
Yeah. Thank you very much to Amol. Unless a franchise picks him up on a lucrative deal to be their batting coach next season, I'm sure we'll have plenty more of Amol Muzumdar in studio. So, Moody, always a pleasure.
Thank you.
Join us on Sunday. One big double-header day to go. And then we will have our playoff lineup confirmed. So we look forward to your company for Mumbai Sunrisers. That's at 3 o'clock, just after the toss on Visit Saudi Presents, ESPN Cricket for T20 Timeout. Download the mobile app and have a look at all the reaction and whatever's written from that Kolkata-Lucknow game. There'll be some reaction from the Chennai game as well, a review of Delhi season. So there's lots of content you can enjoy as the IPL comes to an end. So we'll see you tomorrow for MISRH. Thank you very much. Good night.